Good evening. Oh, I'm a bit low on the screen. There we go. Let's come up a bit. There we go. Good evening and welcome to this week's programme. In the news this week, Weymouth charity Friends of MV Freedom, let's put a picture of them up. There we go. Have been awarded with the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, the highest award a voluntary group can receive in the UK. The group have provided access to the sea for people living with disability since 1984. Recently, they've also taken delivery of their new boat, the fourth boat that the charity has had since it started in 1984. The chairman of the charity, Dirk Aldous, has said, "Our charity has carried tens of thousands of delighted passengers over the years, and for this honour and recognition on top of the delivery of the brand new boat could not have come at a better time. It's a huge tribute to the hard work and commitment of all our volunteers over many years, and particularly to the generous donations received from every element of the Weymouth and Portland communities and beyond." Friends of MV Freedom is one of 241 charities, social enterprises and voluntary groups to receive the prestigious award this year. The Queen's Award for Voluntary Service aims to recognise outstanding work by volunteer groups to benefit their local communities. It was created in 2002 to celebrate the Queen's Golden Jubilee. Recipients are announced each year on the 2nd of June, which is the anniversary of the Queen's coronation. Representatives of Friends of MV Freedom will receive the award, which is a crystal an award crystal. It's sort of a crystal presentation thing, and the certificate from Angus Campbell, who's the Lord Lieutenant of Dorset, later this summer. Also awarded at the same time is Serve Wessex, the blood runners who operate in South Wiltshire, Hampshire and East Dorset, and also serve the Dorset County Hospital in Dorchester. They've received the same award this year, so well done to both MV Freedom and Serve Wessex. Dorset police officers investigating an assault in Weymouth are appealing for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward. Dorset police received a report at 2:30 a.m. on Monday the 31st of May from the ambulance service of a stabbing in West Hill Road, Wyke Regis, near the junction with Pirates Lane, very close to our studio here in the heart of Wyke. It's reported that a victim, a man aged in his 40s, was assaulted by a group of men. He sustained a stab wound. The required surgery was taken to hospital for treatment. His injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. The offenders may have left the scene in a dark-coloured car, and the police are keen to hear from anyone who may have captured either the incident of the vehicle, or the vehicle leaving the scene on any home CCTV systems. More help is also requested by Dorset Police, who are appealing for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward following a report of an assault and sexual assault on Weymouth Beach. It's reported that around 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 1st of June, a man approached a group of teenagers aged between 15 and 16 years old between Greenhill and Brunswick Terrace, and during an interaction he made inappropriate comments towards them. The man allegedly threw a rock at the group and subsequently grabbed and pushed one of the teenage boys. It's further reported that the man kissed one of the boys on the neck while apologising. Officers attended, and a 42-year-old man from Weymouth was arrested on suspicion of assault and sexual assault. He has been released under investigation. So if you can help with either of those incidents, do give Dorset Police a call on the usual number 101, or anything you wish to give anonymously via Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Now, the Dorset coroner is asking for some help to locate the next of kin of two persons who lived in the Weymouth area and have died recently. The first one is Stuart Gom, who was 56-year-old and died at his home address in Bedford Road on Tuesday the 1st of June. And the second one is Mark Gary Littleworth, who was 59-year-old and died at his home address in Park Street this Thursday the 3rd of June. Neither of the deaths are being treated as suspicious, and no police investigation is needed. But the coroner's office is very keen to trace any relatives and next of kin of either of these people. If you can help with either of that, the contact number for the Dorset coroner is 01202 123 900. That's 01202 123 900. The chair of fundraising of Weymouth Lifeboat Station. Teresa Drake has just completed the final mile in the RNLI Mayday Mile Challenge. The RNLI Mayday Challenge is the annual fundraiser for the RNLI, in which everyone is encouraged to travel a mile a day by any means they can for every day during May. Teresa, who uses a walking frame to help her get around, started the challenge by hoping to raise £300 for the RNLI. At 7 p.m. on the 31st of May, the last day of May, Teresa, supported by family, friends and supporters and lifeboat crew, set off from the Jubilee Clock to walk the last mile to the lifeboat station. On arrival at the lifeboat station, she was met by Weymouth Town Mayor, Councillor Colin Huckle, who praised Teresa for all the hard work that she had done in raising a total to date of £2,300 for the RNLI. So well done to Teresa, hoping to raise £300. So far raised £2,300. Teresa said, "I want to thank each and every one of you who has supported me in the Mayday Mile Challenge. It's been absolutely mind-blowing. All the words of encouragement from family, friends and complete strangers." So well done to Teresa there, supporting a very worthy cause. The Cherries, a residential home for children with complex learning difficulties and disabilities, has been rated good by an Ofsted inspection. The Cherries is run by Dorset Council. It's based in Weymouth and provides long-term care and accommodation for up to 9 children. Ofsted visited the home in April and looked at the following areas: the experience and progress of children and young people, how well children and young people are helped and protected, and the effectiveness of leaders and managers. Inspectors said that the staff provided child-centred and consistent care. As a result, the children's experience care that is tailored to their individual needs, that provides them with security and stability and helping them to grow in confidence. A wide variety of opportunities and experiences are offered that promote each child's individual development and progress, and staff proactively plan activities that they know the children will enjoy. The inspectors did find some areas for improvement, which did include reviewing the amount of health and safety signage around the building to improve the home feeling of the environment and to ensure that the environment is consistently maintained and furnished to a high standard. Now, very, very serious and concerning matter. We could be heading for a shortage of the breakfast cereal Weetabix after workers who make it have voted to strike over pay and conditions. Around 80 staff based in Northamptonshire will take part in one-day strikes, which could lead to product shortages following a system of fire and rehire. So they've been getting rid of staff and then rehiring them as and when they need to. Weetabix have, however, said they are confident there won't be any shortages. Over the bank holiday, Dorset Police worked alongside Dorset Council staff to tackle unauthorised encampments in West Dorset, including several in Weymouth and Portland. At around 6:30 on Friday the 28th of May, officers were called to reports of a group of travellers at Weymouth Rugby Club. They attended and spoke to the group before monitoring the incident overnight. Separate unauthorised encampments were also reported at the Swannery car park and the Noath. On Saturday, Dorset Police re-attended the rugby club while the local authority made the alternative site at Piddle Hinton available. While officers were at the site, the group left and relocated to the Marsh swimming pool area at around midday. Following a process of engagement, a notice under Section 62 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act was served on the group to leave the site by 10:30 a.m. on Sunday to the approved alternative site in Piddle Hinton. The group departed out of the Dorset local authority area at the stated time. The transit site at Piddle Hinton is there to provide a solution for unauthorised encampments and can enable the police to use particular powers to move people to the site. Another story from Dorset Police. This time they're urging motorists to be mindful of all road users this summer in an effort to reduce the number of people seriously injured or killed on the county's roads. The May Bank holiday weekend saw residents and visitors make the most of the beautiful weather in the stunning county. Sadly, 2 motorcyclists lost their lives following collisions in Bournemouth and near Dorchester over the weekend. Investigations are underway to establish the exact circumstances surrounding each collision. Dorset Police and partner agencies are working together to remind all road users of the importance of taking that extra bit of time to look for vulnerable road users like motorcyclists, particularly at junctions. A campaign was launched in April 2021 which identified key known locations where motorcyclists have been injured in road traffic collisions, and unique road signs were placed in these areas to remind all road users to take that extra time to think bike. And I'm sure you've seen those signs popped up around the county. Inspector Craig Tatton from the traffic unit said motorcyclists and cyclists don't have a roll cage, seat belts or airbags, so when they are involved in a collision they are sadly often seriously injured or killed. Everyone can play their part in reducing the risk and the number of incidents on the roads. Queues and delays can be stressful and frustrating, which can also cause road users to take extra risks and make mistakes. We urge all road users to do the same by taking that extra time to look for vulnerable road users and make sure they have been seen. A guide has been produced to provide advice to all road users about how they can be safe on the roads, and it can be found on Dorset Road Safe website, and the website address is dorsetroadsafe.org.uk. Nice and easy to remember, dorsetroadsafe.org.uk. Another piece of good news, the Citizens Advice Outreach Service at White Regis Health Centre will be restarting face-to-face service on the 18th of June. It's not a drop-in service, it is a by appointments only service, and you can book appointments through the health centre to speak to an advisor. Appointments can either be face-to-face at the practice or by telephone depending on the preference of the individual. Citizens Advice Service works involve providing advice on issues such as benefits, work, debt and money, consumer affairs, family, housing, law and courts, immigration and health, and lots more besides. A very good service, and it's really good news that it's available again in White Regis at the health centre. A 2-week delay seems to be being planned on the easing of restrictions in England on the coronavirus pathway. A number of people in the country with COVID-19 has risen in the recent week by 75%. Multiple reports have also suggested plans to lift the restrictions could be scaled down, with social distancing and the wearing of face coverings set to continue amid concerns that the Indian variant is fueling a surge in cases. The UK on Friday recorded its highest number of new confirmed coronavirus cases, 6,238, since late March, according to the official figures released today. Figures from the Office of National Statistics also suggested the number of people who had the virus in England has increased by around 3/4 in a week, taking it to its highest tally since mid-April, with the R value now being between 1 and 1.2. However, I'm sure you have heard as well that a government source has stated earlier today that it seemed to be on track for the latest stage in the government's roadmap on the 21st of June. However, we will all need to wait and see what actually happens on the 14th of June, which is a week before when the 21st of June changes are supposed to happen. And Dorset is having a rush of applications for new campsites for staycation holidays. A rush of planning applications has included sites with yurts, glamping pods, safari tents and teepees. Many of the applications have been for temporary sites, and while most are small scale, will collectively add up to hundreds of additional spaces for camping and for visitors to sleep. And for the first time since 1800s, the county is likely to have more shepherd's huts than when the countryside accommodation was needed for those actually tending the flocks. Some of the sites have no need to apply for formal planning permission if they are to be used for less than 56 days, double what it used to be after the government relaxed the rules to help the economy recover after the pandemic. Recently considered applications in the Weymouth area include Portland Bunkhouse, Moor Farm at Knights in the Bottom, Chickerell, Weymouth Rugby Club and PGL Park, Short Lane, Osmington. All of those places looking to increase their sleeping accommodation. And finally, in the headlines tonight, the last 10 days has finally seen the summer arrive, and it's been a busy time over last weekend, the bank holiday weekend, and this week, a school half-term week. Our harbourside in Weymouth has been busy, with the local pubs and restaurants doing well, and the beach has been really busy as well. And this looks to continue with the good weather over this weekend and for the week ahead. There are now new rules in respect of beaches across Dorset in place, including Weymouth Beach. And just so you're aware of what these are, the new rules prohibit dogs from accessing a number of beaches in Dorset Council area. Have now come into force, and they run all the way through to the end of the summer. Dogs must not go onto the sandy Weymouth Beach up to the Green Hill Groyne from the 1st of May until the 30th of September. Dogs, however, are welcome all year round off the lead within an allocated dog exercise area at the pavilion end of Weymouth Beach. There are no restrictions on the Preston Beach through to Bowleys Cove. Dogs must be under control at all times. They must also be kept on leads on the promenades and footpaths, and owners must obviously clean up after their dogs. Failure to comply with the council's rules puts the owners at risk of a fine of up to £1,000. There are a number of beaches across the region, however, where dogs are permitted, and all the information is on the Dorset Council website. There will also be no horses allowed on the promenade or Weymouth Beach between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. from the 1st of April through to the 30th of September. And from Friday, April the 2nd, no cycling on the promenade will be allowed between 10 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. And of course, most importantly at the current time, you will still need to follow social distancing measures and keep outside the 2-metre distance from other people whilst on the beach and whilst those arrangements are still in place. That's the end of our headlines tonight. Now, our first story, or first main story tonight, is about a national nature survey. It's called the Church's Count on Nature. Now, although it has church in the title, it isn't about churches themselves, and it isn't just for church people. It's a national nature survey about nature in churchyards. Churchyards are often a wildlife haven in the heart of our communities, and this survey looks to record what wildlife is in our nation's churchyard. Now, last night I met with Church Warden Jeff Thomas from All Saints Church, who has been putting together the Church's Count on Nature in Wyke Regis, to hear about the survey and what is happening here in the heart of Wyke Regis and how you can get involved. Now, I will say, when I run this video, I realised when I set it up, and it was too late to do anything about it, that there is a black section on the start. So I haven't gone off air. It will be blank for a few seconds before the video starts, and it was too late to edit it and take that out before we went live this evening. So here's the report with me speaking to Jeff yesterday evening in the churchyard at All Saints Church. Hello, good evening, and I'm here stood in the churchyard of All Saints Wyke Regis, and I'm joined by my fellow church warden, Jeff Thomas, and we're here to speak about the Church's Count on Nature, which is a national thing that's happening this coming week. So Jeff, just tell us a bit about what the Church's Count on Nature is.
Well, as you say, Gary, it is a national thing. It's taking place around the UK. It's an event sponsored by the group called Caring for God's Acre, which is a charity who look after the sort of and preserve the nature and burial grounds. There's another group called A Rocker UK, which is a Christian charity focusing on conservation, and also the Church of England, and we're not in Wales, but the Church in Wales as well. So it's a broadly supported event happening around the UK in a church near you.
Is this something that the people of Wyke, if they were interested in this coming week, could get involved in? Is there some role for people that might be interested in nature and wildlife in Wyke?
Yeah, definitely, because the idea is that at these churches around the UK, throughout the week in question, which is next week, people get involved and essentially count the wildlife they see in their churchyard, and that's not just animals, that could be flowers and as well. So it's a whole range of flora and fauna, and they can get involved here in White Regis, because what we've done is organised throughout next week 2 hour-long slots, commencing Monday afternoon from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then Tuesday 10 to 11 and 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and the same on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So there's 9 slots. Just come along, there'll be someone here, meet up at by the Lich Gate, the bench by the Lich Gate, and take it from there. And you can grab a piece of paper and go and find a spot and just write down what you see.
Now, I know quite often there's comments in Wyke about the fact that the churchyard is unkempt and uncared for, but I know this isn't the case, and actually it's a managed situation here in the churchyard to promote wildflowers and encourage the insects and bees. And of course it's an ancient churchyard going back to 1455. And as you look around the churchyard, there are all sorts of plants and wildflowers and trees. It's a sort of a haven of wildlife within centre of Wyke. I mean, what might people see if they actually came this week to look? What sort of plants or what sort of animals or birds or?
Okay, well, I'm certainly not an expert myself. I'm very interested, but I know that, for example, with bird life, the other week I was here with the band practicing, and we were practicing not a few yards from where we are now, and as we sat and practiced, well, a great tit appeared and was getting very angry actually, because his nest was in one of those sort of vents on the side of the church, and we, playing our band pieces, were preventing him from getting back to it. So great tits is a good example. I've seen myself a blackbird here earlier, heard the other week a chiffchaff, so all sorts of birds will pay a visit here. Insects, well, as you rightly said, we haven't mowed this. I know I personally observed no mow May in my garden, and boy was it a tough ask mowing it on the other day when on the 1st of June. But yes, that's encouraged all the insects, all the bees and the wasps and everything that like to sort of to use the flowers in the graveyard. And so we're perfectly set up for people to come and sit and observe and note stuff down. As for animals, don't know. Might see the odd badger perhaps if you're really lucky. But you know, if you sort of peer down by the side of a gravestone, you might see anything and everything. So keep your eyes peeled.
And of course that's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, we might see the odd thing as we're here tonight or in the week, but of course if people are monitoring it over a period of time, they may notice things that we don't see. Yeah. And I know there are butterflies here, there are bees, there are lots of wildflowers, there are birds. So if you've got some time this week, the details will be up on screen. Do get in touch, do have a look at the parish website. We'll put some information up on the parish website as well, and do come along and see what you can find in the churchyard here in Wyke, and let us know what you found, because we can't be here all week having a look. There we go. So that's the church's count on nature that's happening this week, and you can judge by the video there the amount of bird noise there was in the background, and there are lots and lots of birds there, and say butterflies, bees, lots of insects. There are wood piles there specifically left for insects as well. And I've been told by some of the people that get involved in this sort of thing that the best thing to do first of all is maybe to take a little camping chair with you and just go and find yourself somewhere quiet to sit, and just sit and stay still and listen, and then you'll see the bird life coming out around you. Of course, if you're walking around, you are disturbing things, and they won't come out. So if you want to get involved, do go along to the parish website, www.parishofwykeregis.org.uk. There'll be stuff going up on Facebook over the weekend as well, and do pop up. It's an activity that you can do as a family or as an individual, young or old alike, and you'll be made most welcome. Our second story tonight comes from our regular contributor Janet Hall, who this week is looking at the psychiatrist and psychologist Carl Jung, who died 60 years ago tomorrow on the 6th of June 1961.
Tomorrow, June the 6th, marks 60 years since the death of Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and psychologist, who was the founder of analytical psychology. He came from a traditionally Christian family, being the son of an impoverished rural pastor. Early on, he had ambitions to go into the ministry himself. But instead, he created some of the most widely known psychological ideas, including synchronicity and the collective unconscious. Both he and his mother, Emily Preiswerk, experienced disturbing paranormal phenomena, which he was determined to explore and explain. Early in his career, he was championed and encouraged by the pioneering Sigmund Freud, who secured his appointment as president of the newly founded International Psychoanalytical Association. But they soon went their separate ways because their ideas were incompatible. Jung was disappointed at the schism, but it resulted eventually in the establishment of his own analytical psychology as an all-encompassing system separate from psychoanalysis. He published many books, including the highly controversial Answer to Job, which addresses the significance of the Book of Job in the Bible. In it, he argues that while Job submitted to God's omnipotence, Job nevertheless proved to be more moral and conscious than God, who tormented him without justification under the influence of Satan. A study of Jung is not an easy task, but one theory of his which interests me is the shadow. Jung believed that the human self, as it grows up, learns to fit in, to socialize and to keep people happy. Parents, siblings, friends, teachers, bosses. In order to do this, we develop a social self, a mask, a face to present to the world. And the more we put the mask on, then the more we repress the other bits of us, emotions, feelings, talents, that are part of who we are, but we don't want them seen by others because we have been taught, or taught ourselves, that they are somehow unacceptable. This can include things like permission to express emotions, or to show originality, or to show ignorance, to admit that we don't know things. So we become guarded versions of ourselves with a collection of stuff we carry round with us, getting heavier and heavier. This untouchable part of ourselves becomes hidden from other people and ourselves. So Jung calls it the shadow, an essential part of us, but one that we fail to integrate as part of the whole. He cautioned that it will always emerge, sometimes in unconscious acts or when we project things, good and bad, onto others. The shadow is everything within us that hasn't been allowed expression, and it can apply to nations, groups, and churches, as well as individuals. Sometimes we throw onto others the unloved bits of ourselves, which we try to hide or remove, and that leads to scapegoating. If we can learn to integrate our shadow, the bits of us we try to hide from ourselves, we will become better at relating to others, less touchy, less prone to react sharply with people, less distrustful. It's part of learning to love our neighbour as ourselves and not hate our neighbour as ourselves. At the end of his life, Jung was beset by illness, but in 1961 he wrote his last work, Approaching the Unconscious, which was published posthumously in 1964. Jung died on the 6th of June 1961 at Kusnacht. But his work carries on, and people are still studying it when they want to learn more about the human mind and how it works.
Thanks very much, Janet. They're looking at 60 years after the death of Carl Jung. Our final main story tonight, we're going to be looking up at the skies. Now, we've been talking very much about nature tonight and in previous weeks, and we've talked very much about clearing up litter in our community and recycling and projects where people have gone out and cleared up litter to make our environment better. But have you ever thought about what's going on above us? This week, our reporter Lydia looks at the ever-increasing number of satellites going into space and the problems that this is bringing with space junk.
There is nothing more that I enjoy on a clear night than looking up into the sky, looking at the stars and planets and watching for a shooting star or satellite crossing the sky. But what is really going on up there? Various media outlets are reporting this weekend that musician Brian Eno has said space needs to be given the same protection as Antarctica, or it will soon be full of junk. Eno, whose championing of technology in music and work with David Bowie has made him forever associated with space. In an interview with the musician, in the newspaper, he has said that the environment, here on Earth as well as up and beyond, is in peril because we've lost our ability to look into the future, with relatively little thought given to how our actions today will play out further down the road. Eno has said he does not understand why we have not treated space in the way we've treated Antarctica. With Antarctica, there are limits on exploitation. You have to get approvals and licenses to do things, and you can not just turn up and decide to build something. In the interview with the Eye's Tom Borden, he said, "We recognize that Antarctica's a global resource that doesn't belong to anybody but belongs to everybody. Why can we not take that perception into space? It's a commons, it's not a private playground and a place to make a few more $1 billion. He went on to say, "People might say, what's the big deal about space? There's nothing going on out there." Well, in a way, that's the point. It's the place where we look out, see the rest of the universe and realize how incredibly special this planet is, he said. I think it's very important to be reminded of that. All the time, every night. Brian Eno is part of a growing movement of people concerned by plans to send around 100,000 satellites into low Earth orbit in the next 8 years. This is an extraordinary increase from about 2,000 circulating the world at present. It has also raised fears about frequent space collisions. Eno also feels it will also spoil the experience of stargazing, with each binocular view of the night sky expected to contain 10 disproportionately bright moving dots, and astronomers' photographs will often contain a series of streaks as the satellites cross the sky. Most of the satellites are used to improve internet coverage. Their proliferation has been made possible by developments in rocket technology, which means they can be sent into space much more cheaply. There are also relatively few limits on sending satellites into space, as there is a lack of international laws covering space. The laws that do exist date back to 1960s, when the technology was quite different, and not so many items were being sent into space. If things carry on as they are, we'll have up to 100,000 new satellites in the sky within a decade. It's just complete madness. There's no thought at all about what it means to have a world with potentially several 100,000 satellites surrounding the Earth and presumably colliding regularly and filling the sky with space junk. Said Eno, who knows several spacemen, including Rusty Schweickart, a key astronaut in NASA's Apollo program. Eno feels very strongly that we have lost the tendency to think about the future, and that we focus too much on the present, and what we want today. Hence there is no understanding of the future impact of our actions. Back on Earth, Eno is a keen advocate of climate change action. He has just set up Earth%, a project that encourages musicians and the music industry to donate a small percentage of their earnings to fight climate change. Brian Eno will be one of 30 satellite experts talking at Losing the Sky, a free virtual event hosted by Edinburgh Astronomical Society on the 15th of June. The event will be online and will start at 7:30 p.m. The event will be led by Professor Andy Lawrence, of Edinburgh University. Professor Lawrence has just launched a book appropriately called Losing the Sky. Professor Lawrence says, "The sky belongs to all of us, or so we thought, but suddenly it seems it's possible for people to plaster it with litter. We're now polluting the sky in a way that nobody expected." The live talk will be hosted on the Astronomical Society of Edinburgh Facebook page, and on YouTube. Why not search them out and join the virtual event? It looks as if it will be very interesting and thought-provoking. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you, Lydia. No, I wonder if you thought about the amount of junk going up into the sky above us. What goes up? Something's got to happen with it. And I know there are particular projects, and I think one is run by an organisation called SpaceX that's literally looking to put thousands of small satellites into space to improve mobile phone coverage and to provide satellite internet coverage, which is very good for technology, obviously, and advancement of technology. But we need to manage what happens to those when they go wrong and when they collide. So very interesting webinar there that's going to be run that I certainly think I'll be paying a visit to. So it's that time of the programme now where we look at the weather, and we're going over to the Met Office, and this week we've got Aidan McGivern giving us the national weather forecast for the weekend.
Hello again. A fine weekend for many with plenty of warm sunshine. There will be some showers in places at times, and the showers mainly the focus of a collection of weather fronts that are out to the west on Friday night and then push into northwestern areas during Saturday, sinking southeastwards to arrive into England and Wales by Sunday. Now here are the showers crossing the country and this area of cloud as well during Saturday night. A weak weather front, so a few dribbles of rain for Wales and the southwest, but nothing significant. A cloudy night means that in these areas temperatures will hold up a bit higher compared to the previous night, but in any clearer spots elsewhere it will be another fresh start to Sunday. Best of the sunshine on Sunday will be across central parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, East Anglia in the southeast. This cloudy zone in the middle, that's where the weather fronts are eddying up, and that provides a focus for some heavy showers to develop, perhaps across the higher parts of Wales into northern and eastern England during Sunday. But in the southeast, warm sunshine, 25 degrees. Scotland and Northern Ireland, a much brighter and drier day with sunny spells and temperatures into the high teens or low 20s here. So there'll be some showers about this weekend to be aware of, but also plenty of warm sunshine as that ridge of high pressure from the Azores holds sway once again. Follow us on social media and we will keep you updated. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Aidan. Now I'm going to pop up our little weather widget to see what it's saying for the week ahead. And that's not, it's not quite as positive actually as what I got from the Met Office earlier today, which actually says that although there may be some rain tonight and at times tomorrow, that it will be sunny the rest of the week, with daytime temperatures down here on the coast between 17 and 19 centigrade, and that'll run through the whole next 7 days from Monday through to next Sunday. Our weather widget's showing it's going to be a little bit cooler and possibly a little bit cloudy, so we'll stick with the Met Office forecast for this week, I think, which gives it a little bit better than our interactive weather widget. So looking to traffic and travel, this week it's quite quiet on the roadworks front. I think that's because we've been half term, so looking not to do too much on the roadworks. But Wessex Water continue their works in Williams Avenue in White Regis and Harbourview Road in Portland in the week ahead, where there shouldn't be any problems with traffic flow and delays, but it will affect parking in those roads. There are also works on Radipole Lane by Wessex Water, and that could well cause delays, and in Bar Lane in Chickerell, where the road will be closed. Of course, traffic will be heavy on the roads tomorrow. It's the end of half-term week, and a number of people will be travelling home from the area and from further down in the West Country because children will be going back to school and people back to work on Monday. So expect, if you're travelling anywhere tomorrow, that the traffic will be heavy. So best if you haven't got anywhere to go, to stay at home, have a piece of cake and a cup of tea and sit in the garden and enjoy the good weather. On the trains, good news, if you're travelling on trains this week, there are no planned engineering works this weekend or for the week ahead affecting services going from Weymouth elsewhere. Moving to what's on. All of those main attractions I've mentioned for the last few weeks are now open, although obviously there are still some restrictions in what they can do and needing to follow social distancing, etc. Specific things to mention this week is Weymouth Pavilion are asking everyone to call the box office to book tickets for their shows at the moment, as the online ticket system is not working. Now there's lots of information on shows coming up this month and over the summer period, so do take a look at their website. If you want to book any of those, do give the box office a call on 01305 783 225. That's 01305 783 225. The Nothe Fort have got some new items that seem to have gone up on their website this week that's happening in the near future. 10th and 11th of July, Weymouth Drama Club are producing Arabian Nights. They're bringing an exciting performance of Arabian Nights to the Nothe Fort this summer on the 10th and 11th of July. Experience the magic of a literary classic on stage, surrounded by the beauty of the Victorian architecture. I imagine that sort of thing at the Nothe Fort on a nice summer's day or summer's evening would be absolutely fantastic. And also, Opera Anywhere are presenting HMS Pinafore on the 16th of July. They are thrilled to be at the Nothe Fort with their energetic and accessible versions of Gilbert and Sullivan classics. They return this year to perform at the Nothe Fort the HMS Pinafore, a tale of mismatched love across different social classes. Climb aboard to find out if love prevails and enjoy a feast of fun along with Hip Hip Hooray. Of course, also don't forget, we mentioned last week that Dorset Museum reopened last weekend after it has been shut for a couple of years for major refurbishment. Now, I haven't had the chance to go to the museum yet. If anybody has who watches our programme, if they'd like to get in touch, I'd love to hear what you thought about the museum, what was good, what wasn't so good, whether you'd recommend it to other people. Do drop us an email in the first instance at news@whiteregis.tv, and I would love to have a chat with you about the new Dorset Museum. Cineworld in Weymouth is open again, and I know from a couple of people I've spoken to who've been there, it's operating very, very safely with COVID secure arrangements. So if cinema and the big screen is something that you enjoy, do have a look at the programme at Cineworld. Lots and lots of good films on, and it's good that our cinemas are opened up once again. And we will be talking about one of the cinema releases in a few seconds. Also this year, we mentioned it last week, we are celebrating 450 years since the union of Weymouth with Melcombe Regis. So if you are organising any events to help with these celebrations over the coming months, please do let us know. There's quite a lot of events being organised in White Regis, which we will be letting you know about in the coming weeks. All sorts of different things later in the summer to specifically celebrate the 450 years since the amalgamation of Weymouth with Melcombe Regis. So do drop us a line if you are organising anything so we can share it with the rest of the community. And something I mentioned last week, if you are a fan of West End musicals, tomorrow night, that's Sunday, 7 p.m, there is a live performance called The Show Must Go On that is coming from the heart of London's Theatreland. It's free. and it's in aid of the Theatre Support Fund. And this is the fund that is supporting those people who have not earned anything whilst the coronavirus pandemic has been on and they've been unable to work. Certain people in the musical theatres and actors have not earned anything. They've fallen through the gaps in the support the government have actually provided, and so the Theatre Support Fund has been working to support those people. They are giving a free show. Just search for The Show Must Go On. It's on YouTube. It starts at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and all they ask is, if you enjoy it, that you make a small donation to the Theatre Support Fund. I think looking at the trailer video, it's going to be an excellent evening if that's something that you enjoy. So on to our film review section. I said there was one coming up. This week we're looking at a film called Reminiscence, which will only be available in cinemas. So it's really, really good that the movie industry is now in a position that it can release these big films to cinemas first to encourage people to get back to the cinemas. And it's going to be heading out at the cinemas on the 18th of August. And that's way in advance that it will be available in any other form. And basically, the people are saying it. Reminiscence. Nothing is more addictive than the past. It comes from the writers and directors, producer Lisa Joy. It's from Warner Brothers Pictures. Warner Brothers has been very, very active over the last 12 months or so, and they produce a phenomenal amount of pictures. Nick Bannister, who is played by Hugh Jackman, is a private investigator of the mind. He navigates the darkly alluring world of the past by helping his clients access lost memories. Living on the fringes of a sunken Miami coast, his life is forever changed when he takes on a new client, May, who's played by Rebecca Ferguson. A simple matter of lost and found becomes a dangerous obsession. As Bannister fights to find the truth about May's disappearance, he uncovers a violent conspiracy and most ultimately answers the question, how far would you go to hold on to the ones you love? The film also stars a number of other well-known and award-nominated and winning actors and actresses. It's also produced by the people that produced Waterworld, if you remember that massive epic from several years ago. The film will be distributed worldwide by Warner Brothers Pictures. It's set for release in cinemas on the 18th of August. And here is the trailer.
You're going on a journey through memory. All you have to do is follow my voice.
We're closed.
I know, I'm sorry it's late.
We have time for one more job. When the waters began to rise and war broke out, nostalgia became a way of life. There wasn't a lot to look forward to. So people began looking back. Nothing is more addictive than the past.
No, put me back. Put me back.
I understand. She has moved on, and you should too.
People don't just vanish. To find where she'd gone, I had to know where she'd been. Was she running from the past? Or racing back towards it?
How much did you really know her? How much did you love her?
Who was she? Who was she but not with me? You think you want answers? Well, you don't. Where is she? Where is she? Arson, bribery, murder. People love their secrets.
Don't go down this path. Stay here, in this life.
blind eye to plenty. I have to do this.
That machine of yours, how close can you get before the illusion's broken?
You're going on a journey. All you have to do is follow my voice.
There we go, that's Reminiscence, only available in cinemas from the 18th of August. So we're almost at the end of the programme, and just to remind you that we have our quiz programme on this evening at 7:30. We start streaming at about 7:15 just to make sure people can get it in on time. That's available on all the usual channels, including the one you're watching on now. If you want to attend any of the regular church services in White Regis, then there's a service at 8 o'clock and 9:30 at All Saints Church tomorrow. The 9:30 service is also live streamed, and St Edmund's Church at 11 o'clock. Also remember on Friday this week that at 7 o'clock our Year in Gardening with Clive Gray will be broadcast. They always broadcast 7 o'clock on a Friday evening. If you're into your gardening and do your gardening projects and plants, there's something for you in that programme. And of course that, the quiz and even this programme can be watched at any time on catch up on YouTube or Facebook. That is the beauty of social media. Don't forget, this is a programme for you, for your community. So if you've got any stories you want us to cover, any events coming up, or anything you want to share with us, do drop us a line. We rely on your ideas for next week's programme. The email address is news@WhiteRegisTV. And of course, during the week when we're not on the air, please support our other community stations, all community radio stations. We've got Chesil Radio, we've got Keep 106, and we've got Air 107.2. Both Keep and Air are available on normal radio as well as online on the internet, and Chesil Radio is just internet based. They are all quite different, and I'm sure if you take a listen to all of them that there will be one there that suits you. And we are really lucky to have all of these people within our community that work tirelessly to bring these services to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all without any income for themselves. So well done to all of those, and I'll certainly do my best to support them in any way I can. So do take a listen to them. Other than that, I'll say good night to you and look forward to you joining me again at 6 o'clock next Saturday for next Saturday's programme. Have a safe and happy week. Enjoy the sunshine. Stay safe, and I look forward to being with you next week.